Hello, friends, and welcome to Wednesday's live level up conversation. Whether you're tuning in live or catching me on replay, thank you so much for making the time. Today, we have a really fun show scheduled for you. Welcome to the show. Let's get started.
Welcome to Level Up with Winnie Sun. Market update. Speed round. Award-winning financial pro. And now, get ready. I present to you Level Up with Winnie Sun.
Hello, friends. Happy Wednesday to you. Wow, I see so many of you joining me today. I see LinkedIn in the house, Facebook, YouTube. Wow, lots of friends. Thanks for being here. First off, don't be shy. Jump in. Let me know how you're doing, how your week's going. Of course, where you are. I would love to hear how you're doing. We're here in Southern California, but you can't really tell because today is a full-on gloomy day. In fact, I hear that my kids might be dealing with rain during lunchtime, so it's not your typical sunny Southern California day. But we need days like this. It kind of gives us balance. And in fact, talking about things that we need, I want to start off like how we love to start the show off, is to tell you how the market's doing currently. Now, the market hasn't closed. We've had a few more hours to go, but let's see where we're at currently. The Dow continues to roar forward, up 141 points currently. Nasdaq's up 7, so we'll take it. And the S&P 500 actually was in negative territory right before we started live with you here, but currently it's up also almost 8 points at 7.95. So we'll take it. For those of you who are brand new to the show, welcome. I'm Winnie Sun, your host, an award-winning financial pro, a Forbes contributor, and a CNBC council member. Like we mentioned, we're streaming here live, and that's what makes it fun. So if you're joining me from wherever, like we're like literally, a week away from Thanksgiving now? How you doing? What are you looking forward to? What are you not looking forward to? Jump in, say hello. Let me know your thoughts on that. Well, first off, I wanted to start off and kind of give you an update on how the markets are doing today. Like, obviously, you know the numbers, right? But let's talk about inflation because in this realm, well, let's just say we have some positive news. So, in last month, October, inflation continued its overall sort of moderate levels, and there's specific areas of the US economy where prices actually went down. And this is great news. For those of you who've been sitting on the sidelines, waiting to refinance, looking to purchase a new home, you might have better news sooner rather than later. A lot of us were watching all these price rate hikes, if you will, from the Federal Reserve and wondering how high can they go. In fact, if you have some money that's sitting in CDs, right, or savings accounts, you might be like, well, these are higher rates than I've seen in a very long time. Well, part of that is because of this deflationary or this inflationary trend that we've been experiencing since the beginning stages of the pandemic. Well, as of last month, there's been some deflationary trend on the opposite end. Now, this is predominantly observed in the goods sector of the economy. Now, to give you an idea what the goods sectors include, these are some of the things that you and I buy on a regular basis, right? So a lot of those things in terms of prices have come down a bit. But there's other factors which give us hope and why the stock market has reacted so positively this week as well. First off, the robust US dollar. We're going to take it. The US dollar continues to play a significant role in making goods and services which are imported to us here in the United States more affordable because the US dollar has been strong. And it's only been strengthened, which effectively helps to lower the costs of things that we pay for that are imported goods, resulting in, of course, cost savings passed down to us. Now, the second thing is, and something that we just talked about, was the sort of the pandemic, the early years of the pandemic, and sort of those disruptions which caused issues with the global supply chains, which led to shortages. You remember this? I mean, last Thanksgiving, the Thanksgiving before that, we were talking about like bird shortages and turkey shortages, and just the increase in costs on what you would be serving on your holiday dinner. Well, or lunch or breakfast, if that's how you roll. But now a lot of those costs have come down. In fact, we're hearing that turkey costs this year are surprisingly low. The other thing, and so another main point is, of course, geopolitical events that are occurring in Russia because of Russia's invasion of Ukraine has impacted energy costs, which caused them to increase. Now, that surge in energy costs has subsequently, of course, raised other costs for us, such as transportation costs. You've probably seen a lot of the flights increasing in cost if you've been traveling, and distribution expenses of things going from one area to another, which of course that's also layered on the price of things that you pay for on a day-to-day as well, right? Someone's got to absorb those costs. Unfortunately, it usually comes to you and I in the realm of consumers. However, these supply chain disruptions seem to have been mostly um, cleared out, mostly subsided. And energy prices, which include things like gas, electricity, now they've experienced also a notable decline. So we'll take it as a positive as we go into this cooler months. Over the past year, of course, energy prices have decreased by over 4% at 4.5%. This is reported recently from the Consumer Price Index. So looking ahead, of course, we're optimistic as we go into the holidays in 2024, and we're just hoping further things occur, further deflation, and hopefully getting to more healthy levels of inflation. I know the Fed's looking for that 2 to 3 to 4% range, and that's of course levels that would be more comfortable for you and I as well. All right, to our next story. Now, I want to talk about this one because this is one that's been in the news for quite some time now. And this is a continuous fear of a government shutdown. So you might wonder, why is a government shutdown such a big deal? And why can't our government come together and just avoid these shutdowns? It just seems like it's like an ongoing thing that we're dealing with year after year after year. Well, why it's such a big thing is because when the two parties that are in the House and Congress in general come together and they can't decide on how much to spend, how much not to spend, and they have like these sort of arm wrestles of how they're going to run our country here. Well, what happens is when that happens, there's a lot of people depending on them passing these budgets so that money is available to pay for Americans who are doing all sorts of different roles and a lot of things that we spend money on. Well, currently, the House has passed a bipartisan stopgap bill. Now, this is good news because it's aimed at preventing a government shutdown, which is the big thing. And it also sets the stage for Senate approval and, of course, then later on, the potential signing by our President Joe Biden. Now, this stopgap bill has secured House approval. Now, the vote wasn't even close because the vote was 336 votes to 95 votes. Democrats supporting it more than Republicans. Now, the bill, of course, was led by our brand new elected House Speaker, Mike Johnson. You've probably heard about him in the news, maybe you've even seen him, his talks on social media and some of his previous posts. It's part of his two-step plan, if you will. So he's saying that this will extend funding at least until January 19th for some of those big things that the US pays for, such as military construction, veterans affairs, housing, transportation, and of course, the energy department as well. Now, the rest of the government now will also be funded until February 2nd, including additional aid for Israel or Ukraine. How this strategy that he's come about is something, it seems like it actually, had more support than some of the other measures that you've seen in the government of late. But this strategy, the aim is to sort of have time for more negotiations to take place, and they're hoping to pass a full years of spending bills. Now, if they can do that, I think that's a really positive for not only the U.S. government, but also for the financial markets. Because as you know, the financial markets, investors in general, like you and I, we want to know what's dependable, what's stable, what's something that we can count on. And if we know that the government is going to be shutting down for a whole year and that they can get to a point where they can negotiate and make concessions and be okay with working together, that can be seen as a real positive for not only our nation, but also gives us more confidence in deploying our money into different types of portfolios and our retirement, those important financial goals that we're planning for ourselves, right? So this plan is designed, of course, to prevent Congress from shutting down, but also it gives them more time before they're going to pass some massive spending bill. So they need to do this before December. And of course, everybody wanted to make sure that we have a less stressful holiday season. At least I'm hoping that our government leaders were thinking about us, because I feel like we just need some good news. We're talking about inflation coming down a bit. We're talking about the government not shutting down, and you're seeing some of that optimism feed into the financial markets. We saw that yesterday. We're starting to seeing that today, and we hope that continues, right? As we go through Thanksgiving and beyond. I know, we want you to be able to spend time with the people that you love and not worrying about your 401k. Yeah, I love it. All right. So next story is, and this is a big one. Unfortunately, I always like to talk about trends and to see where we're going and what's going to stick, and like kind of seeing like what our future is going to look like. But we sometimes have to look backwards. And one thing that a lot of businesses tried out, and it just might be dying, and I'm really curious about how you feel about this trend, that is self checkout. you know, I don't know the last time I've seen this. I've seen this, like, I know McDonald's has self-checkout, Costco has self-checkout. I know of a lot of supermarkets have self-checkout, as well as smaller retailers too. How do you feel about this trend? Do you like self-checkout? Yes, no, maybe so. I'm going to tell you, I have used self-checkout many times at Target. And the reason it is because sometimes the line is just so long, or I just feel like one of the registers, like, when there's just something stuck, like they're having issues and they got to call managers, and you just don't have time for that. Then I'll jump on the self checkout, get my stuff, move on. Well, unfortunately, that might be one trend that's on its way out, because a lot of businesses are reconsidering this self checkout strategies, because they're saying, well, the technology's efficiency, although it's nice, a lot of users haven't embraced it. And those who have used it, let's just say sometimes they don't use it to its full extent in the right way. So the report came out that British supermarket chain Boots is removing all their self-checkout stations from most of its 28 stores. They're just saying that customers aren't keen on it. They're saying that they're slow, they're unreliable, and there's just not that personal experience with the person who actually brings your food normally. That's not a computer. So they're also saying that customers have struggled with identifying certain fruits and vegetables. This is a big thing in the supermarket, right? Like if you're self-scanning, like if the sticker isn't properly stuck, or you just don't know, or let's just be honest, not everyone is tech native and tech friendly and just has difficulty with that. They're also saying there's difficulties when people purchase alcohol, which of course requires employee intervention, which sort of defeats some of the beauty of self-checkout. So these self-checkout machines, believe it or not, were initially introduced back in the 1980s to reduce labor costs. But of course, there have been challenges, and of course, the devaluation of their value by many retailers. So many retailers have said that not only are these self-checkout machines kind of wonky and not very consistent, but also that they actually cost them to lose money, something that retailers call shrink. Shrink is when customer errors occurred, or that people do intentional shoplifting on the self-checkout machine themselves, because some products have had multiple barcodes, or barcodes that just don't scan correctly. While there's items such as in the produce department, like if you're buying a head of lettuce, like what do you scan? If there's a sticker, great. What if people don't know to scan? So there's a lot of errors that can occur, manual entry, and these errors can be something that just creates more of a issue in terms of bandwidth than they were originally designed for. And the other thing is, with a lot of these self-checkout aisles, a lot of times there's not as much oversight by the employees themselves that work at the companies. And so that has encouraged theft as well. In fact, a study found that companies with self-checkout lanes and apps had, believe it or not, a loss rate of about 4%, which is double the industry average. That's unfortunate. So a lot of companies that you've enjoyed this, such as Costco and Walmart, and a lot of companies are really making adjustments to just how many they're going to have, and looking at different strategies to mitigate, of course, loss and increasing the shopping experience for all of us. So I'm curious to see how you feel about this. This is important, right? We want to know like the future of shopping, the efficiency of shopping. I will say that for our household, we absolutely love curbside pickup because as much as I enjoy picking out my pears, I just don't have a lot of time to do that these days. So it is much more convenient for me to be able to do that order, have it already scheduled, and then like we can pull up in the car, open the trunk, the groceries show up, and we get to move on, right? And it just saves us so much time because I can actually schedule all the pickups all in like a sort of a small 1 to 2 hour window. It's actually pretty good. All right. So let's go to our next story. And this is one that I think is also going to impact you. And I'm curious to see how you feel about that. So this is coming out of Airbnb. Where everybody's been talking about AI, artificial intelligence. Everybody's talking about it. Well, Airbnb has just made a $200 million acquisition. This is actually their first acquisition as a public company. And this is a company that they're purchasing called GamePlanner.ai, which is a startup that was founded a couple years ago in 2020 by Adam Chair. And he's one of the founders of Siri, which, as you remember, was acquired by Apple. So Adam's a smart guy. We can all agree with that. This is his second sell. In fact, this deal was valued at just under $200 million, and it's going to help, they're saying, bolsters a lot of Airbnb projects. This has been operating sort of in stealth mode, this technology, and it's sort of common for startups to do this because they want to protect their IP, their intellectual property, and they just want to make sure that there's no drama, no distractions. They want to build focus. So Airbnb CEO Brian Chesky has this vision that AI will transform their platform next time you go and book your vacation or short-term rental. They want to make this sort of a travel concierge, if you will. This will help, hopefully, make those of you traveling and staying at Airbnbs having more of an experience, and you can learn about this technology is designed to help learn about your preferences and your needs. Let's say you like a home that always has like, two bathrooms, or you like a home that has, self check-in, or something that's really close to a certain park. These are things hopefully this AI technology will learn. So, yeah. So Airbnb, we'll take a look. Hopefully, it ends up being positive and moving in the good direction. This is something that certainly a lot of people are working on. Google, of course, is in talks to invest hundreds of millions into other startups as well. Another AI startup, I think Character.ai, and they're, I think, trying to create virtual characters and even like doing these AI powered conversations so you can have discussions with people like Albert Einstein, which is kind of cool, right? I know. I love it. All right. Well, here's another story that I would love to get your feedback on. And this comes from the Huff Post. And I thought this was so fun because I feel like, this is the season of helping each other. And of course, this is also the season to help you save some money. And one of the things that you might be juggling, which I'm juggling, is sort of juggling work, kids, home, and not in that order, of course. My kids come first, family, work, and of course, planning what you're going to do for Thanksgiving. And in my case, it's going to be with extended family, but it also means like what you're going to cook, what you're going to prepare, what you're going to bring, right? And you can't go to an event or to somewhere empty handed. Well, this might help you out. The Health Post article, I thought that was so much fun, telling you about some of the things that people absolutely don't like at the holiday table. And these are some of the things that you should avoid. Now, first off, if you didn't know already, you probably know now, and that is to avoid political talk. I would say just avoid any heated discussions, period. But of course, political talk being the number one thing. But some of the other things they talked about was, well, this is in the realm of saving money. What are some things you can forget about bringing because people just don't like to eat them? Well, sometimes you might think something or another, but thanks to Instacart and their Harris poll, they actually conducted a survey of 2,000 Americans to fully understand what we like to eat and what we don't like to eat. And here's the thing, if people don't like to eat it, this is something you don't need to spend your hard earned money buying and bringing and contributing. All right. So 27% of Americans said that they dislike candied yams. Ugh. All right. I don't know like exactly what candy yams are, to be honest with you, because I love just to bake that sweet potato, like, and it's all natural state and it's just delicious, just the way it is. Just wrapped up in foil, put in the oven, easy peasy. But candy yams, that's a new thing. People don't like that. Don't bring it. The other one is green bean casseroles at a whopping 25%. People don't like that either. And of course, cranberry sauce at 24%, the three most unpopular sides. So if you're going to bring a side to your holiday feast, don't bring those. And if you're cooking, those are probably areas that you can just disregard. Now, I will say that this study also showed it wasn't like they didn't like these items at all. They just didn't like some of the preparations too. Because some of the people surveyed said that they believe that overcooking these vegetables transforms them into like baby food, unappetizing mush. So don't cook it that way. Because I will say that if you've ever had like Chinese style green beans, oh, so amazing. And you can find that recipe online. I think you just maybe repurpose some of these items if you're really gung ho about wanting them and having sort of that holiday feel onto your table. So traditional dishes like candy yams and green bean casserole would alter sort of that original bean and yam texture and the flavors and the main ingredients. So people just don't like them. So the debate extends, in fact, to cranberry sauce, with about 20% of people saying just flat out avoid cranberry sauce. They didn't even say you should repurpose the cranberries. They just said go ahead and get rid of them altogether. Now, I'll say this. If you still have an inkling for cranberry, and a lot of us do, I mean, they're healthy, right? And like what antioxidants, you can actually jump on Modern Mom. Modern Mom has this really fun, I saw cranberry turkey stuffing recipe. I mean, if you want it, you could try that. Supposedly, it looked like it was pretty popular on the website. But they're saying that this year, if you're looking for something new too, you can actually try carrots. I guess a lot of those interviewed or surveyed said they like carrots and like coleslaw, and they particularly like heirloom quality carrots. I will be honest with you. To me, a carrot is a carrot is a carrot. But I can guess how like different colors, it just makes your table more beautiful. And yeah, so feel free to educate me on the different types of carrots. But coleslaw, they said when prepared with a lighter vinegar forward approach, making sure that it's still crisp and fresh. That's also really popular for Thanksgiving. That's what the survey has shown. So I love to hear your thoughts on that. And with that, you know what? We are about 10 minutes away from something very special. If you're joining me live, make sure to join me on Twitter. I'm calling it Twitter, but you can call it X if you want to, because today we are having our Friendsgiving tweet chat. It's going to start at 11 a.m. Pacific here, which will be 2 p.m. Eastern if you're joining us on the East Coast, literally 10 minutes from now. So as soon as we are done here, jump on Twitter. We're going to have a discussion with my friends Lori Anding, Lillian Lake, and Amy Hampton, and they are going to throw down their questions for you regarding for this year, for next year. It's a Friendsgiving. It's really one of the most fun tweet chats we have of the year. You're going to see some amazing, friendly, warm people, and we would love to get your feedback on your thoughts and a lot of things that we're going to be sharing today. But before we stop in, let's take a look and see. I see Joshua joining us. Thanks so much, Joshua. I hope you see you on that tweet chat. The Dow is currently up 172 points. The NASDAQ is up 29 points as well. And the S&P 500 is now up 13. So we'll take it. We still have a few more hours to go for the financial markets. So hopefully we continue to end in the green in positive territory and for full episodes. So for those of you who are joining me live, thank you so much for being here, of course, for this live session. But for full episodes of Level Up with Winnie Sun, definitely tune in to NASDAQ, Amazon Fire, Roku, LG, Samsung, and many of the streaming platforms. I would love to see you there. And of course, if you do share my show online, please tag me at Winnie Sun. I really, really appreciate it. I know Joshua's been doing consistently, and I so appreciate him making that effort and being proactive and helping us spread the word of, obviously business news, financial news that hopefully gives you a little bit of happiness in your day. But thank you so much, my friends. And of course, if you prefer to hear um, and get more insight listening, check out Yes Factor with Winnie Sun, also on Apple Podcasts and the LinkedIn Podcast Network. With that, I'm going to catch you back on Friday. We have a lot to do tomorrow, so I won't be catching you live. So I'll see you on Friday, but you've got 9 minutes. Join me on Twitter. I'll see you there. Search for hashtag Winnie Sun. We'll have a lot of fun. All right. Take care now. Bye-bye.